I'd like to show you why knowing your why is the start of your journey. Without a strong why, it can be so difficult to reach your maximum potential. My name is Dr. Jason Balara, and every week I meet with real estate investors and mindset specialists that are taking action in order to build a life according to their own terms. We will break down what drives successful people and allows them to achieve at such a high level. If you are a professional wanting to break through, or simply someone that wants to hear an inspiring story, the Know Your Why podcast is made for you. Hi everybody, I'm Jason Balara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast. Today we have a special guest, Marc Picard. He is a former Cirque du Soleil performer and has transitioned from that to being a life and mindset coach, as well as a digital marketer. So today we're going to kind of dive into that and find out why Marc has, what's behind his transition into this career, and also what sort of drives him to success in life. How are you doing today, Marc?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah,
I know we're across the world, but I don't know even what time it is there, but it's dark here. It's still early morning.
it's okay. So it's 3 in the afternoon
Okay,
in my country. So
nice.
midday, just in Spain. So I'm in Spain for the people that don't know. So that's after lunchtime. In Spain, we eat lunch a little later.
Yeah,
Originally, I'm from Montreal though, so I'm more used to the American schedule.
sure,
You know,
sure. Yeah, it's
but yeah.
we have to get to our meals quicker. We're very
Oh
very meal
yeah.
focused in the US.
Yes, yes, yes. I think you're oriented around get the thing done. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Here in
Yeah,
Spain, like for example, at night you will have the dinner at like 9 or even 10 at night.
yeah, yeah.
But that means your day is over. When you start eating at night, the day is over.
Sure. Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
totally.
And in America, we're more like, okay, we eat at 6, 5, 6, because after that we bring the kid to like their activities, and
Yeah,
we go train or we go do something else, and
yeah,
mindset is a little different. Not that one is better than the other, because I've lived in Las Vegas for 8 years,
yeah,
and I really appreciated the American way of living. That's for sure. I really
yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah.
I
Well,
really
it's
enjoyed living in Vegas. That was cool.
yeah. I've actually never been to Vegas. I need to get there. I need to go see a Cirque du Soleil. I've actually always thought seeing Cirque du Soleil would be really cool, so I need to get out there and check that out.
Absolutely. No, no, you need to go. And now they're reopening slowly.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
reopening the shows, and also I think it's going to be time soon to go for you. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, tell us about you. Tell us about sort of your journey. We obviously touched on it in a very, very brief overview, but tell us what you want the listeners to know.
So I'm a retired Cirque du Soleil performer. I've performed about 4,000 shows as a lead character in Vegas. And I also worked as an artistic consultant for Cirque du Soleil. So that means I was working more the human performance. I wasn't touching music or light or anything like that,
Mhm.
but I was really working on the human being. So as an acting coach, life coach, so I was doing that while I was performing. And on top of that, I was running my own businesses, because I always have been an entrepreneur since I was 20 years old. And I fell into digital marketing by accident, because I built one particular project in Las Vegas where you do all your market study, and you're like, okay, there's a need for that type of service. It doesn't exist, there is a market, blah 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 blah, and the thing flopped, like completely flopped, but really flopped. And a couple of months after, I was like, why, what happened? And I realized that uh, I simply didn't use digital marketing. That's it. I didn't use anything on Instagram. I didn't use Facebook. I didn't use Twitter. Nothing. And now we're back in 2014, so it was another ball game.
Yeah,
And when I realized that, I was like, okay, learning digital marketing is just a survival skill. That's it.
yeah,
Everybody should know the basic of digital marketing. Everybody should know how to use social media properly.
Yeah.
everyone that is, an entrepreneur or, you know, um, so I transitioned into digital marketing, and right after I retired from Cirque du Soleil, I did
Mhm.
my all my course to become a life coach, because there was always something inside me since I was really young.
Yeah.
And I've realized quite recently, actually last year, I want to say, I realized how digital marketing is linked to life coaching, because marketing is playing about it's playing on the people's mind, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm realizing how much life coaching is an asset for me as a digital marketer, to understand better the vision of a client, for example,
Yeah.
to clarify certain goals or certain things, and to understand their why,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So this is more or less my journey, quite of a roller coaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Well, I
know
mean, it's good to have, a varied life experience. I think
Mm.
I I'm actually a little curious, and I think probably people, uh, I would imagine not everyone has been to Cirque du Soleil and seen kind of what happens, but what was what type of performance did you do?
So I was working at Ka in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand, and Ka is more of let's say a theater show with a lot of martial art, a lot of circus
Okay.
performance, but there is a narrative, there is a story.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was playing one of the main bad guys, with actually Barry Griffith from
Yeah.
the WWRE podcast.
Yeah.
If people know that real estate podcast, that's
Yeah.
how I
Barry's
got
great.
to know you.
Right.
Um, Through Barry, and we both of us, yeah, we worked together. Barry and I, we worked for I think 3 years, 4 years together. I think because he arrived a little after me,
Yeah.
and so I was playing the bad guy.
Yeah. Awesome.
So
Awesome.
it was sort of a character, a mix between Marilyn Manson and Jack Sparrow, if I
Okay.
had to describe it. So it was a
Okay.
fun character. But you know
Yeah.
what's truly magical at Cirque, at Cirque du Soleil, sorry. People that work at Cirque du Soleil will always say Cirque, so I apologize in
Understand.
advance. What's truly magical about Cirque du Soleil is the universal aspect of it. And that's probably why I was drawn to this particular company,
Yeah.
because you realize when you're in front of 2,000 people, okay, and you make something goofy and everybody's laugh because you're a clown and whatever, you realize how much equal we are.
Yeah.
Everybody is the same when they share a laughter. It doesn't matter if one is a janitor and the other one is the president of Tesla. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It doesn't
Absolutely.
matter, because we're for 1 microsecond we're sharing an emotion together. And to me, that was very beautiful, because Cirque du Soleil was one of the only company that was breaking all the frontier.
Right.
Uh, in, and really was going on a global mission, of uniting the world through art, and through creating art and creating
Yeah.
but that was the reason initially. That was the reason why I think I was drawn to that internationality. It
Yeah.
was very interesting, very,
Yeah.
very, very interesting. I think I
Nick,
miss more the backstage than the stage, actually.
right. Right. Yeah. That probably that camaraderie. I'd imagine it's a lot like, I've always played sports, team sports, or I love it. Just kind of that level of camaraderie and working together for a common goal. And I did,
Yeah.
certainly not on the level that you did, but I did some theater in high school, and it was the same thing. It was just great to be around those people, and have that, sort of creative, let's make this a good show kind of thing come together. And I'd imagine the creative portions of that also really plays into your digital marketing side of things that you've transitioned to, that using that same creativity that you had on stage and with helping the shows, and then going into now creating a digital brand for people, which you made a really good point that there's no, really, you probably at this point don't have a company if you don't have some sort of digital brand. And it's something that I'm you know really having to learn on the fly and get try and get better at. So I appreciate your knowledge in that space.
But I think we had that conversation before. Actually, I think you're pretty good at understanding what you're doing, and your vision is quite clear. Believe me.
Yeah.
You know, I always say, uh, I always say something that is a little shocking, but I always say there's no such thing as a product. There's only the gut feeling you have towards that product. Why
Yeah.
do you choose
Yeah.
ASICs over Nike? They're both great shoes. No one can
Right.
argue that one is better than the other. Okay.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
might feel more comfortable in one and all. Okay. Okay. But
Right. Right.
past that, there is a gut feeling towards a brand. And what's challenging for you guys, because I'm working with real estate investors and real estate podcasters, or what we're trying to do is understand what type of gut feeling your audience will have towards you. And
Yeah.
that's
Sure.
hardcore. That's very difficult because
Yeah.
you know who you are,
Mhm.
but you don't necessarily know how people perceive you.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true. I
Uh,
guess I would almost argue that most people, myself for sure, most people don't even necessarily, you probably have a very different picture of how people perceive you, right?
yes.
Because people are always putting out this, you know, try, you want to be authentic, but also like you want to be liked. And so people probably always in a lot of ways are putting off some sort of vibe that tries to achieve, the feeling of people liking them, or whatever that is. But I
Yeah.
think it's, it for me, I feel like, the older I get, the more I think this is me. And you're right. I have a
Yeah.
very clear vision of what I want from, what I want from this podcast, but also what I want for, my company, Lark Capital, and my family going forward. So it's almost like, I mean, in reality, it's why I created this podcast, and why it's called the Know Your Why podcast, is it's because, especially when I had my son, that was it. I knew what I had to do. I didn't know exactly how to do it, but I knew what I had to do and why I was going to stop at nothing. I am going to stop at nothing to get there. So that's kind of, I appreciate you saying that, because I think that's, if anything, that's kind of what I want to portray, is that I I know what this is about, and that's what I want to find out from other people about this, or on this podcast, is kind of like, what drives you, what do you see in the future, and why do you see it, why does it, because when we talk about, you read the real estate books, you listen to the podcasts, I people say you have to have a strong why. It's always mentioned.
Yeah.
Uh, and in a lot of podcasts, I think people, might mention their why. Oh, I love my kids, and that's it. But I think, if the ones that resonate with me, the real, are the stories, the people that have a real reason behind that why. And, because I think it's never as simple as I love my kids. Everybody loves their kids, right?
Yeah.
But it
Exactly.
doesn't make them want to become, financially free. It doesn't make them, drive them to be whatever it is at the top of their field. So
So you're saying that your why became clear when you became a parent, right?
yeah, in a lot of ways. I mean, I've always loved real estate. I've always been interested. Uh, but with my son, I realized that I needed a way to create more time. And so that's what I see real estate can do for me in the long run. It's not creating more time for me now. Right
Yeah.
now, I'm
Yeah.
basically working three jobs, but I don't mind, because I know, my goal is that in 5 years from now, when he'll be 7, we have a daughter on the way. It'll be then, as they get old enough to be doing activities that, they need coaches for playing sports, or even just going to whatever events they want, or us being able
Yeah.
to go on vacation whenever we want. That kind of stuff is just, I don't I don't I don't care about money. I care about being able to spend
Time.
time with them. So it's
Yeah.
like once I can make sure that that can happen, the rest of it is it's just whatever. It's gravy.
So you're a vet surgeon, right? You're a
Correct.
veteran.
Yeah.
So can you walk me through a little bit your daily or weekly schedule? I'm just curious because you say time is so valuable for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's because probably you're lacking a little bit
Right.
of
Right.
time.
Yeah.
So
Because
what does it
it's,
look like to
yeah.
be a
I mean,
surgeon?
so it is, it's not a job you can do remotely. Right. So we're hopefully wrapping up this pandemic. But a lot of people lost their jobs during the pandemic, and that's very tragic. And I actually feel lucky to be a veterinary surgeon. Veterinarians were still considered essential. We worked throughout. It actually got busier, I think, maybe because people are home with their pets and, kind of,
Yeah.
or they're home alone. They're like, I really need a dog if I'm going to be home all the time, or, something like that. But anyway, our business got actually almost critically busy in the sense that there isn't enough staffing in a lot of veterinary hospitals at this point to kind of keep up with the demand. And but beyond that, I mean, for me, my job is to do surgery. I can't do that at home, right? I have to be at work and be in the OR. And being a veterinary surgeon also includes being on call. And so sometimes that means, I'm there all day and then I have to come back at midnight to do an emergency surgery because there's something that, a dog that needs me, and then I have to go back the next day. And so I generally work, 5 or 6 days a week, kind of depending on as a surgeon. They're not always, 10-hour days, but sometimes they are. And I'm not on call every day, but I'm on call usually at least a week a month. So there's a segment of that it's just, those are things that when I think about, I want to be able to do things with my kids, I want to be able to spend time with them. I can't really bring them with me, right? They can't can't bring a bunch of extra kids into an OR, and then you can't I can't do it from home. So it's kind of what I see real estate as, and what I think a lot of people see real estate as, is a way to be free with their time and their location, maybe is the best
Yeah.
way to say it. Like, this is not to say that real estate investors don't work hard, because they sure do, but it's a different kind of, real estate investing. I can have my son here with me in the office, so we can, I can
Yeah.
be working on things, and he can be around, and it's something I can teach him later. I guess I could teach him surgery eventually if he wanted to, but
So
it's
yeah.
not the
So
same.
we're talking you work 50, 60 hours a week
Yeah, I mean,
as a
probably.
surgeon. And
Probably.
on top of that, you're a real estate investor and you travel to because you came back from storage land. I'm sorry, that's a little inside joke.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
came back from you where did you go? I'm
Yeah, I was
sorry, I
just
forgot.
in Mississippi, coastal
Okay.
Mississippi, to look at a self-storage deal we have under contract, and so doing some due diligence to make sure that, everything's good before we actually sign the final contract and close. And fortunately, Fortunately, everything looks great. We're all very excited about the deal. It's a joint venture, so really looking forward to getting that closed, and then sort of starting the asset management side of things. But I think, yeah, the travel is another big component for me, where I think that I could bring my family, right? I can,
Yeah.
and I'm originally from Boston. My wife's originally from Charlotte, North Carolina. We have lived a lot of places together because of my veterinary career. And so it's kind of nice. We have friends in a lot of different parts of the country, where I'm like, okay, well, guess what? If we go to the Carolinas to look at properties, also coincidentally, we can see her family and a lot of our friends, or, just things like that. I think
Mhm.
being able to kind of do what you want when you want is kind of nice. And I know there's going to be crunches at closing time. There's going to be, it's not it's not no work, but it's something I'm excited about, and it's something that is different and not confining to a room, basically.
Yeah. May I give an advice, a life coach advice?
Yeah, that's why you're on here.
Okay.
We'll get into the life
So
coaching.
w- when it comes to being a parent, because I'm a life coach, but also I'm the parent of two beautiful twins that
Yeah.
plays on my nerve a lot. Okay. They're very nice. They're very, very nice. But they're twins. They're
Yeah,
twins.
I'm sure
Twins have
that's
that something that, anyways.
yeah.
So they're 8 now. Um, and I would like to give you one advice because when I was in Vegas, I was performing 10 shows a week
Yeah.
on top of my own business, on top of like doing artistic coaching on other shows. And
Yeah.
uh, um, there was one thing that I always focus on is not in terms of time is to spend not more time, but more quality time.
Hmm.
So my
Yeah.
suggestion to you or anyone that is listening to this story and sort and can relate to this story, and maybe we have other busy parents
Oh, I'm
that
sure.
want to make more time to dedicate to their family. Think about quality time. If you spend half an hour a day with your kids, make it worth it.
Yeah.
Leave your phone
Yeah. Be
and
present.
fully be present with that child. It doesn't mean that you pick up toys and you start playing. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing, but be there.
Yeah.
But really openly be there. Be
Yeah.
fully present with that kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because if you don't train yourself to do that now, you will not do it when you reach, your time freedom, as
Right.
you say.
Right. Yeah.
You'll not do it. That's one tip that you can apply now.
Yeah.
Bet
Absolutely.
on quality instead of quantity.
Hmm.
Because
Agree 100%.
yeah, because sometimes, I have like, okay, so I'm very, very wealthy in terms of time, like excessively wealthy. When I say I'm retired, it's because I don't feel I'm working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't feel I'm working. I have a very simple life. So my choice was not to increase necessarily my income. It was to live a simple life. I went the other way.
Yeah.
So how can I make my life as simple as possible so I'm not a slave to anyone? I don't need to say yes to every client that comes in. I don't, so that was
Yeah.
um, and I get to spend a lot of time with my twins. And sometime I still need to reconfirm this in my head. Oh shit, I need to spend quality time and not quantity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I could play, if I want, I can now, pick them up from school and go play for 3 hours. I have that 3 hours because I work from home. So,
Right.
you
Right.
know, but yet sometimes I don't do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm caught up into work and I go on my
Yeah.
computer. And so, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the advice I would give to any professional that is very, very busy, that is a parent. Bet on quality, not quantity.
Yeah. Yeah. And it
Absolutely.
and it takes, I mean, you're absolutely right. And it does take, you have to make a conscious effort to do it too, because
Yeah.
it is easy to be, you work all day and come home, and it's like sometimes it's easy to just sit in front of the TV or mindlessly scroll through your phone, but you just,
Yeah.
and that's where your why comes in, right? There he is right in my face, come daddy, and he's excited to
Exactly.
see me, and I'm excited to see him, and it's like, what's the point of doing all this if not for him, right? I don't, otherwise I don't care, otherwise it doesn't, like, I
Yeah.
like working. I like what I do. It's not hard to, I like being a veterinary surgeon. I like doing real estate. So it's like, it's not a problem to work. I like it. It's just, I want to be a part of his life. I want him to,
Yeah.
remember me at some point. I'll be gone and he'll still be, I want him to think back and say, it was awesome with dad. I always
Yeah.
had a good time with dad. So that, that's kind of
And
the driving force.
yeah, that life lesson, that I did, that little tip that I just gave, I had it from my father because actually, like a couple of years ago, he told me, "Oh yeah, you make me remember when you were 5 and I was working,
Yeah.
70 hours a
Yeah.
week." And he told me that, and I was like, "Eh? When I was 5, you were working 70 hours a week?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh yeah, 7 days a week." I've never noticed it. I
Yeah.
never lacked my dad ever,
Right.
because when he was with me, he was with me and he
Yeah.
was just playing. So
Yeah.
as a
That's great.
child, I don't remember that guy as a busy guy that was, I don't remember
Yeah.
that. When he
Yeah.
told me that 70 hours, like 7 days a week, 10 hours, and it was before the cell phone.
Yeah.
It was like the old fax and the old computers and
Yeah.
the no, actually we didn't have a computer at that time. It was the first computers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not like he was on his phone all the time. He was, because when he was with me, he was with me, even if it
Right.
was 15 minutes, even if it was probably to like come and just say good night
Yeah.
and spend that 10
Yeah.
minutes in bed telling me a story or just chatting.
Yeah.
You don't need 10 hours a day with your
Right.
child. Anyway, your children don't want you 10 hours with them. They don't want that. I'm
No,
sorry.
no,
Uh,
they want mom. That's what that's what my
yeah,
son
or
wants. Wants
even
mom.
that,
That's
even
it.
that,
She's yeah.
So can I ask you? So you said your why became clear when you became a parent, but what was your why before? You probably had a why, because how long have you
Mhm.
been practicing?
Since I mean, I finished my residency in 2008. That was,
Okay.
3 years of specific surgery training. So I guess technically from 2005, I've been surgery only, and then vet school. I started vet school in 2000. So it's uh, 20 years, 20, close to
Okay.
20 years at this point. Um, my why before I guess when you ask that question, what jumps in my head is work ethic. I
Okay.
was I've always worked a lot. I started working when I was 12, I think, 13, something like that. Um, we didn't have money. I grew up pretty poor. Certainly, we weren't the poorest people in the world, but we didn't have a lot of money, and I didn't want I didn't want it to be that way, right? And so for my family, my mom was a single mother, so I got a job early. I still remember, like, I bought us our first VCR, which probably anyone younger than 30 doesn't know what a VCR is, but I bought our family our first VCR, I think, when I was 16. It was just like, this was a way to, I was almost trying to provide even at that point. So I've always, I guess, money was a way I needed to work to make money to make sure that I could uh, help the people around me, whether that was my family, my friends, whatever it was. And because we didn't have money, we moved a lot. We grew up in apartments, not nice apartments. And so I also always swore I would always own houses. And that's where my real estate interest came from, because the first time I bought a house, I was 25, and
Hmm.
I bought, like, legitimately maybe the worst house in town, because that's what I could afford. And I just learned to fix it. I just figured
Okay.
it out. I figured it out. I actually met a contractor working on one part of my house, and I asked him a few questions, and he was like, "Hey, you want to come work for me?" I'm like, "Sure." So it was uh, it was a lot of it's a necessity is the mother of invention. Necessity was the mother of work ethic for me. I also have an uncle who I worked for, and he was a very good influence in terms of work ethic. So my why was, in large part, trying to, I don't know if escape's the right word, but just trying to not have that same. We had a very happy childhood. I loved my mother. Like, this is not in any way to disparage that. It was just, we didn't have money, and I wanted to be able to, you know that that wouldn't be an issue in the future.
So your why was work ethic and giving, right? It
Yeah,
was That's what I
yeah.
understand from. So if you can go as far as you can remember, so probably when you were around 5 years old, all right?
Hmm.
What did you want to become? Did you want to become a doctor or
Always wanted to be a vet. I always did.
really?
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember wanting to be anything else. I almost didn't do that. At one point, I didn't get into vet school the first time I tried. I didn't have because I was always working, but I wasn't actually working as a veterinary technician or anything like that,
Hmm.
because I would basically have had to volunteer, and I needed to work uh, in a job that I could make money. So I didn't get in the first time based on experience, and so then I had to actually go and make sure that I fulfilled that requirement of experience to get into vet school. So, but that's what I always wanted to do. I almost changed it to construction because I didn't because I didn't get in. So I may have gotten into real estate 20 years earlier if if that didn't work out, but who knows? It's can't go back in time, and like I said, I love what I do.
So let me tell you something. I'm not sure if your why is your son, your why is giving to your son. You know what I mean? There's really like a strong, you have a giving is important to you. Give back.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Because that's something I really appreciate from you. Your vision is super clear.
yeah,
It's crazy. I'm stunned right now.
yeah, uh,
You're very sharp and consistent. Since you were 5 years old, you wanted to become a
yeah,
vet in order to give back. And okay, well, you grew up in poverty and blah 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 blah. But there was that the why was already clear, the
yeah,
why you wanted to do that, because after that after that is just to find out how.
yeah,
So why? Because I
yeah,
want to give back. Okay, but how? Well, real estate, or becoming a doctor or an entrepreneur or whatever, or it doesn't matter.
yeah,
And the what is what you became.
yeah,
You choose to become a doctor, but your giving back is very, very, very strong.
yeah.
That's super cool.
I think I, I really had no intention of talking about this anytime soon, but part of the vision that I don't think we've even talked about it, but this is the know your why is a big part of my brand so
Yeah.
far, and that's the podcast name. I also intend to someday there will be a Know Your Why Foundation, a charitable foundation. So that is definitely on the list of things to do. Once we get down the road. So yeah, I mean, I guess it feels good to help people. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't like I said, it's not about like us being super wealthy or anything like that. Like certainly I would do anything to provide for my family, but I don't I mean I don't I drive like a pickup truck that's 5 or 6 years old now. Like I love it. I don't want luxury cars. I don't,
Yeah.
you see people, they like get super wealthy and like see these cars they're driving, and I'm like, I don't care. I just want
Yeah.
to be able
Yeah.
to, I just want experiences. I guess that's what I want, experiences for, even we at the holidays every year with our son, we have this argument because I'm like, he doesn't not my wife and I don't argue. We have to fight off the grandparents because I'm like,
Ah.
he doesn't need more toys. He's got plenty of toys. We have a small house. Most of the time he wants the box. Like that's what's exciting to him. I'm like, he doesn't need more toys. I'm like, he just has to have uh, a enough to entertain him, but really what he wants is to play with us. So yeah, it's anyway, it's not like I said, what wasn't I guess planning to put the foundation out there, but now it has to happen. It's in the world.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So now
it's
you got to do it,
right. There's
because
no turning back.
before that podcast, it was just a dream,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and now you have a dream that becomes a goal. So now you need a plan,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
that's my mom. You know, we didn't have money, but she also, maybe this is where it comes from. She also, my mom loves to volunteer, and so
okay,
when I had the idea for the foundation, I've already asked her. I was like, someday you're going to be a part of this. You're gonna work in the foundation and do something. And so she's like, yeah, I would love that. So I
yeah.
think it'll be. She likes to give back. Even she likes to give back her time. She doesn't. It's not always about money. So it's something that I look forward to someday being out there.
But that's super cool. And sometimes we see, to go back a little bit, on social media, if I can compare it. In social media, we always see that as something very selfish, and it's the selfie culture. But actually, it's totally the opposite. It's the offering culture. It's
Yeah,
the
it definitely
adding
can be.
value to other
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah,
So
definitely
you're
can be.
doing what you're doing in the same gesture of giving, giving, giving. And if you are in that mode of giving, you'll be successful on social media. Your podcast will become successful because you're giving, not giving money necessarily,
Yeah.
giving education, giving tips,
Yeah.
giving tools. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the ingredients are all there for success. That's for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. Absolutely.
Well, let's I feel like want to get back to you, and maybe I did have sort of a series of questions I wanted to ask, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, so I guess, it's the meaning behind the podcast, but Marc, what is your why? What is
Growth,
your growth?
growth, growth, growth. My top three core value, I would say, is probably freedom comes first, growth comes second, and family come third position. I'm so sorry to say that. It sounds very arch, but
I,
if I don't have that feeling of freedom,
yeah.
I'm not happy.
Yeah.
If I'm not happy, I'm not growing. I don't help others to grow. And if
Yeah.
I don't do that, I'm not a good presence for my family. I need those two main ingredients to be, a good family member.
Yeah.
Growth really drives me. What I really love to do is to help people grow personally, to grow their business. No, I don't really care about the business in which they're, as long as it makes the world a better place, of course.
Right.
But growth, I do that for growth, to make sure I'm growing, I'm learning, to make sure
Yeah.
that the client is growing, is learning. And because if you don't grow, you die.
Yeah.
You stay in your comfort zone, you stay comfortable, you don't challenge yourself, and you just go in a spiral of working
Oh yeah.
Netflix,
Yeah.
working Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you'll stop by the grocery store the day that you have a lot of energy.
Right.
You'll go at the
Right.
grocery store instead of ordering pizza.
Yeah.
And so growth is my why. Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I think, and it's a really important point that we have to make sure that we take care of ourselves too through
Oh
the
yeah.
journey. You can give back and give back, but as you mentioned, it's, like for me, I need exercise,
Hmm.
or I am not a good person to be around. Like I just,
Yeah.
my family and my wife know, we've been together long enough that she knows, like I need to get the exercise in, or I just mentally it's hard for me to then
Yeah.
focus. So yeah, the growth in whatever it is. I this actually brings me to the next question, and I maybe have an idea of what the answer will be, but um, tell me something that you'd like the listeners to know about you, whether that's a hobby, just something, doesn't even have to be business related, just something that you'd like to put
Oh,
out there for people to know.
so my main core value is freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom, because I'm a running addict. I run
Yeah.
about half marathon a day. I run
Right.
ultra marathons. I just run all the time, and I
Yeah.
live in the paradise for that.
Yeah.
So running. I'm just, if you go see my Instagram, you'll see in the link in the link below. My social media are just full of nature and running, running, running. Why? Because also I believe that if everybody were just putting their shoes on and stepping outside for a
Yeah.
walk, for a light run, just like 1 mile,
Yeah.
one half a mile of just running in nature, the
Something.
world would be a better place.
Yeah.
you
I agree.
know
I agree.
that's how I reconnect myself with nature.
Mhm.
That's every day. It's very important. Obviously, I don't live in a city because that would drive me crazy.
Yeah.
I live in a remote part of Catalonia, near Barcelona, and it's just the trail running paradise. It's just those beautiful mountains all over the place, always. It's not like in Montreal, there's no snow, so I can run
Right. You
all
can
year
all year
round.
round. Yeah, that's
And
fantastic.
running, and simply running.
Yeah, yeah.
That's super important to me. And a little bit like you know, if I don't go out for a run, my wife will tell me, "Hey,
Yeah.
you're a little
you,
grumpy. How about
you might
you?
want to get your shoes
You
on and get
might
out there.
just put
Yeah.
your shoes on." Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally understand.
I learned so much things about life in running, man. So much thing. When you run, you know, when you go into the marathon and ultra marathon, it's not a physical game, it's a mind game.
Oh
You
yeah.
learn
Yeah, for sure.
how to deal with your mind, and you
Yeah.
know, you learn how to deal with discomfort and to push yourself. The one thing that will trigger me that my wife tells me is, okay, I'm a running addict, but also I'm very lazy. So, you know, like weirdly, all the greatest athletes are the greatest lazy people. And believe me, I've
Yeah.
worked with like high-end performers, you know.
Yeah.
Believe me,
Yeah.
they are lazy. They do the job, but they are lazy. And sometimes I'm like laying in bed after lunch and I'm like, I don't want to run. And she tells me, but you don't need to. And boom, I stand up, put my shoes, and I go. That's
Yes, I
the
do.
only the sentence of like, because she's telling me, "Oh, are you a lazy ass motherfucker? You know that's an option to be
Yeah.
lazy, right?"
Right.
No,
Just
no,
go
no, no,
ahead.
no.
Be lazy.
And I go,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
Totally understand. How can people reach you? How can we'll
So
have it in the show
my
notes, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's they can go on my website, stupidsimpledigitalmarketing.com. All my link will be there, you know.
Okay.
So
Okay. Perfect. Just go to the website. And so my final question is, what can I do to help you in terms of future goals? What can I or anyone listening can we do to make your life easier?
um, be kind with everybody that cross your path. Just do that. Just do that. Pay attention to your kindness everywhere you go. You go to the CVS, be kind. You go at the gas station, be kind. You have a meeting with your lawyer, with your ex-wife or whatever, be kind.
Mhm.
You're in the middle of a conflict, be kind. Be
Yeah.
kind, be kind, be kind, because that's gonna be the key to make sure you're not entering into any sort of emotional war with yourself. Because you know when you get angry, actually the only thing that makes you become angry is because you have mixed feeling and you don't know how to react. So
Yeah.
your body just trigger like, okay, anger, that's what we're choosing because we don't know how to feel. So that's how we get insulted, you know, when someone say, oh, that's an ugly shirt you have,
Yeah.
and you're like, your body is like, hey, okay, how are we supposed to feel right now? Whoa, you know.
Yeah.
Choose kindness, choose kindness. Just don't do it for me, do it for everybody.
Yeah. I love that. Love that. That's that's a very generous answer to that question, and I agree with you 100%. Just makes life so much easier to be for yourself and everyone around you. Just be
uh,
kind.
it's so easy, it's so easy to be mad. It's
Yeah.
so easy,
Yeah.
it's so easy. We live in a world where you want a pair of shoes, you go on Amazon, boom, they'll show up the next day. You want a TV
Right.
show, boom, it's there in 5 seconds. You and I, we knew the TV program and we had to wait and blah blah blah. We know
Right.
that.
Right.
But the younger generation, they don't know that. They want everything right away. They want a date, they go on Tinder.
Yeah.
It's right away. So it's so easy to be impatient. It's so
Yeah.
easy to want more and get your good. Well, no,
Yeah.
be kind, you know, and
Yeah.
ask kindly in a compassionate way whatever you want to express, you know, because that, to go a little deeper and then we close the podcast, that will create an impact because people will be inspired by that
Yeah.
and they will start to be kind. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
The only way you can impact the world is by inspiring the world. How do you inspire the world? By starting with yourself. What kind of change can you make inside yourself to, you know, to be kind and to
Yeah.
make the world a better place on a smaller scale, on a daily, on a, you know, whoever you're working with, kindness, kindness, kindness.
I love it. Yeah. That's fantastic. That's actually probably about the most perfect way we can wrap this up. I think that's phenomenal. But I mean, again, uh, it's been a great conversation. I appreciate you coming on and talking to me and giving up your time. So thank you very much. It's
Thank you
been
for
great to
having
talk,
me.
Marc. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.